Hello, everyone. How are we doing today? Welcome to a new history podcast called Beyond Borders U.S. International Affairs in the 20th Century. Today is Saturday, May 10th, 2025, at the time of this recording. Happy Mexican Mother's Day to all of you. I'm your host, Vicente Jesus Vasquez. I'm a 25-year-old male. I was born December 24th, 1999. As many have come to realize, I'm a Capricorn, and for all you astrologers out there, I'm from Ventura County, and if no one knows where that is, that's okay. No one does. Just remember, I asked a package from there. Topper's Pizza Place, an amazing pizza place, if I might add, originated here, and the first ever American physician was here, named Dr. Shafez Bar, for all you history nerds. Just like me. Also, Ventura is only 1 hour up north of LA to make it easier for you guys. This is a relatively new thing that I'm doing, this podcast, so bear with me. Please, I do want to make this an enjoyable experience for you guys, and also an enjoyable experience for myself. I'm a new upcoming historian who is studying at Cal State LA and will hopefully receive my degree in 2026. That will be my master's degree. And I did receive my bachelor's degree in history from California State Northridge in 2023. I also have two other associate's degrees in mathematics and science. I will maybe in the future consider doing a PhD to further my knowledge of history, but as of right now, the market for the PhD programs or PhD like jobs is very crap, so I probably won't do that. So I'm completing my master's, and that'll be the end of that. My specialty as a historian has to do with U.S. 20th century, specifically looking at social to bottom-up history. This type of history looks at individuals that aren't high of power or class, and examines how events affected those that are regular people. This also shows how it affects you and me, history today, and how we can learn from that. I've also started to look into intellectual history, in which ideologies are born, so like how left radicalism and conservatism is born, and how they change over time. My knowledge of history is new compared to experts in the field, but I do bring an interesting perspective to the world history. As I am a young historian, I do bring a youthfulness to the subject. Sure, that might not be good, but it's also easier for audiences to connect with someone like me compared to someone who is older and seen as more intimidating because of the vast knowledge they have. For those who don't know me very well, I'm a Mexican American that has lived in California all my life. I've had the privilege of living in Los Angeles and San Francisco. In Los Angeles, I've studied in Cal State LA, of course, and Northridge, but I've also studied in San Francisco and San Francisco State University. I did do political science for a while, and I did not like it, but at the end of the day, I would go back if I ever did a PhD over there. So yeah, that's very cool. I'm also a very proud Chicano who loves my culture and history. I want to be able to share that with all of you, and I also wanted to give a huge thanks to my parents for giving me the opportunity to change my dreams, and my siblings for inspiring me to pursue history, and my friends for encouraging me. Alright, well, that's a little bit enough about me. Not really. I'll be talking about myself more in the future. But let's talk about what I bring into the podcast world. As a historian, people always ask me what makes history so interesting to you. And honestly, I kind of get that a lot because my friends, family, and even coworkers have said things like history is boring and it's just not for me, and why study that subject at all. Excuse me, sorry about that. And yeah, I can see why people feel that way. History can seem very dry, like it's locked behind a bunch of books and it's only seen for academics. Sure, you can Google facts and like search an article up, but at the end of the day, being a historian is looking deeper, making connections, and seeing patterns that help us understand not just the past, but also the present today. The present. That kind of deep dive can scare people off. It feels like way too much. But here's the thing. I believe history should be for everybody and everyone. It's not just dates, names. It's a story of us. It's a story of people. And when it's told right, it could be super engaging, even fun, and even fun at times. That's what I want to do here. I call it public history, making history accessible and exciting, especially for young people who might be curious but unsure if it's their thing. I want to show that history isn't just some boring lecture. It's a wild, weird, tragic, inspiring, and always relevant to today. This podcast will be what the title suggests, not just about U.S. history, but also about the U.S., but about also the history that the countries during that time in the 20th century. The 20th century is a time period in which the U.S. government was most active in international affairs. I'll be answering questions, for example, like how did the U.S. change the Japanese Empire after World War II? Or how did the Panama Canal change the natives' lives? These all have the same theme, a U.S. international history, and I will go over the good and bad implications that the U.S. had on these countries, people, and overall, how their image was altered from a powerhouse to a worldwide superpower throughout the 20th century. These areas will cover the country's point of view, and the U.S. as well, and to see why these events unfolded, and the way they did, and how both were affected, not just the U.S., but the country that was colonized or just acclimated. This will be a discussion of how the U.S. altered many countries for either the greater good or their own self-interest. As I repeated before, this podcast will be a conversation that I'm having with the audience, giving facts, but also showing why I think the way I think. I want to be like I'm teaching a class, and the reason I wanted to be like that is because I do want to delve into teaching one day, be a professor as well. But also, I want the audience to relate to this and be itching to learn more about history. This podcast will be mostly me talking, but also be open to discussion and asking questions through comments, email me, and what topic I should do next, or even ask to elaborate on said subject. The podcast is for audiences that are interested in history as a subject to learn in college, but it's also for regular people. As I said before, it is public history, and what do I mean by that? According to Jay Price of Wichita State University, he wrote, perhaps at its heart, public history is more of a spirit that sees the historical scholarship as a part of a large sense that includes both professionals of academic and non-academic stripes, as well as various segments of the public at large. That history isn't only for professionals, but also for people. It should be accessible to everybody. I want to find a balance between that, as the way Price thinks is a little dangerous, because then it makes people that are just some Joe Schmo be like, oh, I did my research, but all they did was a Google search. But also to show the expert. And also I want to do this thing where I want to show why the experts are professionals for a reason. It's like between finding a fine line of being a hardcore historian, but also being a casual listener. Now, this podcast isn't supposed to make the U.S. look like the bad guy at the end of the day, or even make other countries look innocent. At the end of the day, I do love living here, and a lot good has been done by the U.S. Actually, I'll start that over. Okay, so now this podcast isn't supposed to make the U.S. look like the bad guy, or even make countries. Okay, hold on. Calm down. Okay, so this podcast isn't supposed to make the U.S. look like the bad guy, or even make other countries look innocent. At the end of the day, I do love living here, and a lot good has been done by the U.S. and will continue to do so. One example was lending a helping hand to all of Europe after World War II as they were verge of collapsing. If they didn't get help, at the end of the day, it probably was for their own self-interest, because if they helped, they would tell the other countries to say, hey, convert to capitalism or not get this help, and if you convert to communism, you won't receive this help. And also, another thing is creating a country in which every religion, race, and person can live together. However, with the state of politics that is today, especially who is under office, Donald Trump, as you can tell by my voice, I don't really like him, but whatever. Propaganda history has been spread to only demonstrate what the good the U.S. has done, that they have no faults and they've done only good to every country they've been to, which isn't true. Much of the U.S. self-interest in other countries has had a negative effect, and we even see it in some countries today. One example would be how 20th century Latin America countries were ruled by dictators that were enforced by the U.S., like Chile, Argentina, and so on. This podcast would be from the left side view of history, as the left side comes from groups, policies, and just overall dissatisfaction of what areas the U.S. has failed in. To the left side, history comes from groups like the Chicano movement, the Black Panther movement, that are super left because of the injustices that the U.S. Government did upon them. This makes them very valuable, as these groups strive to make change that This makes it valuable as these groups strived for change leading to today. You can even say that left radicalism created the U.S., with the founding fathers wanting to create a better republic for themselves and others. I know that could scare a lot of you people away from the podcast, but at the end of the day, is the way I look at history, and I'm going to do what I want with my show. But I do want to be very gray in these topics, as history is a topic subject, so I'll try to remain as neutral as possible, but still holding on to my beliefs of that left radicalism. So, I just want to conclude this by saying if you have any topics that include that aren't about the U.S. relations with other countries in the 20th century, feel free to reach out or drop a comment. I'm always open to dive into new ideas. If you want to hear an episode, like for example about the U.S. Civil War or how it started or what the reasons behind it were, or curious about why South America is generally poorer than North America, I got you. As long as I have time, I'm pretty down to do any research and learn anything, and I'm a pretty fast reader, all things considered. Just a heads up, my main series will be following the format episode 1, topic of the day, and then if I cover something that's a little outside the 20th century history and the US, I will label it a special episode topic episode 1. Also, if you're interested in being a guest on the podcast, whether you're a student, historian, professor, or just someone who's passionate about history, don't hesitate to email me or leave a comment. I'll be featuring my friends, my brother, colleagues, professors, and hopefully some historians as well to chat about these topics. I'm definitely not famous, so I promise I will respond quickly. So before I go, I want to give a huge thanks to Dr. Endy for inspiring me to start this project, and to my colleagues at Cal State LA for giving me their feedback and support for this project as well. I couldn't have done it without you guys, and I thank you guys so much for this. I do want to continue this even in the future, because this is supposed to be just a project-based podcast. This is only supposed to be a project-based podcast, but I do want to continue this and maybe do this as a career, but I don't know. I'll see how it goes, and especially if I have time with school and everything. But other than that, I think that's it. Until next time, I'm your host, Vicente Jesus Vasquez. I'm signing off, and this concludes Beyond Borders, Episode 1, the introduction. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.